November the 7th, 12:28 a.m. It's warm here. Yeah, you see they're trying to write that obituary or do that autopsy, you know, on old Miss K.H., huh? Yeah, Clara McCaskill, yeah, she's a sharp one, ain't she? Oh, Kamala worked hard to get where she got. Well, I'm going to share a few things with you all. Anybody out there that serves as vice president, be it male or female, this ain't really got anything to do with gender. What does your oath of office, when you take the office of vice president and raise your right hand, what are you saying in that oath? Does it say anywhere in that oath about being loyal to the president? You got to be loyal to the people. So if you're serving a president who's not being loyal to the people, and you're being loyal to that president, you're probably going to be in trouble. This is exactly what happened to Kamala Harris. It's loyal to the people. Now, I want you to think about this. I can vote for a woman for president someday, if it's the right woman. Okay? California. You know, Gavin Newsom, got bad news for you, buddy. What does history say? History says you'll never be president of this country. Why? Oh, we've not had a Democrat born or has spent a lot of their life in California who has been a Democrat elected president of this country, have we? Wonder why? Wonder why? As many people as California has. Law of averages would say what? That big pool of people? And you've never had a president elected with a D beside their name from California, be it born or lived there. Ronald Reagan lived there. He wasn't born. He was elected with an R beside his name. Richard Nixon was born there and lived there with an R beside his name and got elected. But no Democrat. Why? That should tell you something right there, California. You know, you all ought to be doing some soul searching, huh? How about you, Pelosi? You never did run for president, did you? Maybe you're smarter than we think you are. You would have never got elected probably, huh? You would have never got elected to be Speaker of the House had you have been one of, say, 3 candidates submitted. And if we had to vote as a nation out of the 3 contenders that the House would submit when the Democrats controlled it, you would have never got elected. Nationally, probably. Instead, you're picked by your party. So that's just a little tidbit of information there for you, Gavin and Kamala. Yeah, we were going to have what? Oh, we were going to have our first person elected from California, weren't we? A woman. But what was she? A left-wing lunatic. Now, you've got all of these little pundits, you know, like Scarborough, and you've got these journalists, you know, the left-wing lunatics, you know. Now they're out there saying, oh, something's wrong, something's wrong. But what did it took the American people to go vote, though, to tell these people this, did they? Joe Scarborough wasn't saying this before the election, was he? He wasn't saying this. Something was wrong. You know, when you're a grown-up and you start going through life, you have to figure out things that are wrong on your own. Don't you? And you look at symptoms. You look at the symptoms. Just like when you have a cold. How do you know you have a cold? You have symptoms. There were symptoms during this election campaign. There were symptoms before this presidential campaign even started. But Dr. Harris, you got to be like a doctor. Dr. Trump, he saw the symptoms. This is why Donald Trump ran for president to start with. He seen the symptoms. Kamala Harris running for president was like trying to shove a square peg in a round hole. Think about it. How are you you're part of the act of what's caused all of these symptoms. Inflation, crime, open border, women having to tolerate biological men in their bathrooms and sports. All of this was going on, and the polls, the right track, wrong track number was saying what? What was it telling you? Well, what was wrong? Well, there was nothing really wrong according to Kamala. Bidenomics were working. She shut up talking about Bidenomics. You ever notice that? That right there told you everything you needed to know. When she was anointed, she never mentioned the word Bidenomics. So yeah, they're all out there now saying, oh yeah, something's wrong. They couldn't figure this out beforehand. Donald Trump had it figured out. How could he do it and they couldn't? All you had to do is go over there and watch Sean Hannity on Fox News, and he would have told you what was wrong. Jesse Waters would have told you what was wrong, Kamala. Obama, Hillary, Claire McCaskill. Oprah Winfrey. Jesse Waters, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity. Megyn Kelly's got a YouTube channel. She could have told you what was wrong. There was lots of places for you to go look to see what was wrong. You know, here's the test question. Makes you wonder, don't it? Wonder if we put Kamala Harris's hand on a Bible and ask her this question. I just wonder what answer we would get if she actually told the truth. How much time did you spend since being sworn in as vice president of this country? How much time did you spend watching Fox News? Be it Fox and Friends, Sean Hannity, Jesse Waters, or Laura Ingraham. How much of your time did you spend watching those people? Be curious to know the answer to that. Very curious. You see, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world to be president. But it pays to listen to smart people. And smart people they're not always necessarily a member of your own party. That's what really a smart person is in my book. A smart person realizes their own limitations, and they go and find out what they need to know or become aware of using other sources. Did Kamala Harris do that? Obviously not. When you see the electric, what happened to it, you know something is really wrong. When you see a party who is losing in significant fashion, facets of what they used to have for voters, so you have to ask yourself this. Was it Donald Trump's great campaign work that got him elected this time? Or was it the mistakes that were made by Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and the Democrat Party that got Trump elected? Or was it a combination of both? History suggests what? You get into office in this country and you do a bad job, you're going to get fired. That's how the founders wanted it. And that's what happened. You seen this in 1980, didn't you? Yeah, being an incumbent, if you do a good job, that makes you be a rehired pretty easy, don't it? But when you've done a bad job and you're trying to get people to rehire you, how are you going to get hired again? You have to either A, what? Lie, B, brainwash people, or C, hope you have an opponent that's too stupid to point out your mistakes. Well, Donald Trump, he wasn't too stupid. He pointed out the mistakes. Donald Trump, the only thing is, Donald Trump had been pointing out these mistakes for several years. Several years by the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party should quit using race in these presidential elections. The media should quit using race. You're being a racist when you do that. Does that make any sense? Everybody has to eat, no matter what race, no matter what gender. We all have to eat. We all want to live successful lives. What's good for one is good for all. And the Democrats need to quit talking about this 1%. You know, they hate the 1%. Until it's time to go get a big check from them 1%ers in California. They take those checks, don't they? Oh yeah, they took old Cuban's money, didn't they? Mr. Cuban. Yeah. They tried to paint Trump as what? A rich kid. A rich man who became rich because of his father. Don't vote for him. He's just a little snotty-nosed kid. Well, I think we can all see there's something different about that. When he went to that McDonald's and climbed into that garbage truck, that was game, set, match right there. Trump stuck his finger in the Democrat Party's eye, is what he did. That's exactly what he did. And that light bulb flashed for some people in this country before they went to pull that lever. That turned on some light bulbs for some people. Because Trump didn't look disoriented when he was in that McDonald's. He didn't look all shook up. He looked like a regular Joe or a regular Jane in there, didn't he? That's what the Democrat parties forgot about. They forgot about regular Joe. You know, where did Joe the plumber go in this election campaign? You remember him? So you can have all the educational degrees in the world and still be out of touch. You can be holding elective office and be out of touch. But with all those people in California, and we've never had a president elected with that D beside their name that come from that state. That's shocking when you think about it. But we had a person from what, little old Arkansas? We had a person with a D beside their name from little old Georgia. How about that? Have we had any presidents from Washington State, Oregon? Why? Yeah, California needs help. You know what? You know what the Democrat Party really needs, don't you? They need a Trump. They need a Trump. Their party has become so far left, it's going to be a surprise to me if there's not a Democrat that comes out and drives that truck right through the middle of that party. That's what Trump did to the Republican Party. That's what they need. They need them a Trump. You don't have to be a rich person, though. It needs to be a person with common sense. You got all these college students out here with all this debt. You had all these high prices. You have all this crime. This is the year 2024. You got smash and grab going on in California. You see it on video. You wouldn't have seen this on video 40 years ago. You didn't even hear Kamala Harris make any reference to this. You know why, don't you? Because the smash and grab was caused by something she had done. She was part of the act when she was out there in California. You didn't hear Pelosi make any reference to this either, did you? Yeah, when the Democrats get power in the House or the Senate, who do they let be their leaders? You ever notice that? You know, in California, as a moderate Democrat, you probably couldn't get elected damn dog catcher. Think about that. Think about that. And you get these people in California that get elected in California and they think, oh, that's the grease the skates for me to win nationally. Well, wrong with that. Wrong. History says wrong. And Kamala Harris, you know, she thought, oh, I'm vice president. Well, just remember, you know, a lot of times when people go vote for president, they're voting for the top of the ticket. She never went through a primary process for this presidential election. Would she have won? Probably not. That governor of Pennsylvania, he's pretty sharp, ain't he? He didn't want anything to do with Kamala Harris. If he had any political ambitions for being president of this country, why would he want to get entangled up with this scatterbrain? With the record she's got as vice president. Think about it. I mean, this Tim Walz clown, you know, how's he going to be remembered? 5 years from now, if you mention his name, what's the first thing that's going to pop into everybody's mind? It'll be one of two things. Either the word tampon or the name Kamala Harris. That will be what pops into everybody's mind. Kamala Harris, the failure, who happened to be the first woman vice president, or tampons. That's how they'll be remembered. Donald Trump's a legacy man. I don't expect to see him overreach. Don't expect to see him overreach. And I don't expect him to let the Senate now, since it's going to be Republican, overreach. You know, this is how you get into trouble as a political party. You get the power, and given enough time, you start overreaching. And you know what happens, right? Well, just look at this last election. That's what happens to you. You think you're the new sheriff in town and you get to do just any and everything you want to do. You better think again about that. J.D. Vance, you're part of the guardrails in this too. No overreach. Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that has to be done in this country to clean up all these different aisle spills we have with JB and Kamala's mistakes and the Democrat Party's mistakes. But don't overreach. Donald Trump's aware of this. The only problem is, though, things can be so bad where some big changes have to be made, and some people may construe them as overreaches. Well, they won't be. Kamala Harris's concession speech, well, that speech lines up with her way of thinking. What she should have said in that concession speech is do her congratulations to President-elect Trump. And she should have said, I learned a whole lot in this campaign. And it's obvious the Americans weren't buying what I was selling. Have a nice day. God bless America. That's what it should have said. But that's not what she said. You could tell she was upset. But she couldn't read the people. She was out of touch. Okay? Simple and plain as you can make it. Her party is out of touch. The mainstream media was out of touch. They still are, after listening to some of them after this result. They're out of touch still. And I suspect many of them will remain out of touch. You can't tell people to turn the page for a new generation of leadership, Kamala Harris, and go and get all of your old relics like Hillary, Bubba, and Obama and Oprah out to go talk for you. That makes absolutely no sense. Who are the younger Democrats, by the way? In their 30s and 40s. Who are they? I don't even know. I don't even know any. Who are these people that goes to meet the press, face the nation? Goes on Fox News with D's beside their name. You see, Nancy Pelosi is one of the reasons why that party is struggling. Nancy Pelosi refuses to give up her power. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Any of you Supreme Court justices see this video, here's what the sharpshooter thinks. When it is apparent that your health will not allow you to continue to do your duties as a Supreme Court justice, you owe it to the American people to retire and leave your post. Ruth Bader Ginsburg stayed till the end. She had health problems. Major league. And she, by doing so, did what? It doesn't matter what president puts you on that court, what party. You've seen this with Joe Biden even. This goes for being president. This goes for being a senator. This goes for being a representative. You hear me, Pelosi? It's time for you to go. You don't have any new young leadership in your party to speak of. You got a real shallow bench. Look at J.D. Vance. Who is the equivalent in the Democratic Party to J.D. Vance exactly? Who are they? I don't know. I don't know who they are. Cling to power. Cling to power. You need to know when it's time for you to quit. Retire. Groom your people. Get all your people, get all your younger and middle-aged people out there, if you've got any. Yeah, to see those old relics on that stage at that convention. Yeah, turn the page on a new generation of leadership. We didn't need a new generation of leadership, Kamala. What we needed was leadership. Oh, we're going to get it too. How about that? We're going to get it from two gentlemen whose last names are Trump and Vance. That's going to conclude the video.